بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon our holy messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's try again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the Hajj seminar that's being done jointly with Qalam Institute and Dar es Salaam. And I welcome you here, those who have driven on a beautiful Sunday morning, too hot for me, but that's besides the point. And of course, those who have taken the time from home and joined to watch and to listen, inshallah. The presentation that I'm about to give you is called Preparing for Hajj. I've been with Dar es Salaam for about 25 years, and I'm part of the senior management team that does all the operational planning across all the programs. And I also have the honor of meeting a lot of you and going from place to place and delivering the seminar to help you prepare for this sacred journey. So when I speak from the perspective as to how can you get the maximum and the best experience of Hajj. This is a distinction being drawn between the ritualistic aspects of Hajj and the spiritual aspect of Hajj. As you know, that today we have both a shorter version of the logistics or the administrative aspect of Hajj, which I'll be presenting, and then we'll have a much longer spiritual aspect of Hajj, including the fiqh of Hajj that we presented later on. If you want to really view the full logistics of Hajj, it was already presented in the seminar that was held in New Jersey on July the 8th. And all of the slides and all of the recording of that seminar is actually on the Hajj forum. And inshallah, we intend to put the recording of this one as well as the slides on the Hajj forum. So we're here today, July 23rd. There's one more seminar for the people on the West Coast. That's next week, inshallah, that I'll be presenting. The theme that we have is very simple. You are impacted when you go there if you go with the wrong set of expectations. So the logistics and the administrative aspect plays a role. You've been living here in North America for some time, and you have built a certain set of expectations. You have these filters up here. And when you go there, that doesn't happen accordingly. So the human instinct says, let's blame someone. And so that's what happens. And it ends up spoiling the concentration, which is to why you're there, which is the spiritual fulfillment. So it's important to know the logistical aspects of Hajj just as much as it's important to know the spiritual aspect of Hajj. Hajj is an inner journey. It is an inner journey that is taken physically, but really is an inner journey. The more you spend time reflecting on what you're about to do, the better you will be when you actually get there. So inshallah we'll begin. Please put your mobile phone in silent mode. There's no need for photography. In the previous seminar, people were taking pictures of the screens because all of these will be made available to you. I would want you to actually write your questions down on a piece of paper. We'll give you opportunity for Q&A. Most of the time, what tends to happen is the question that you write down is normally answered in the course of the presentation. And if not, we'll take up the Q&A towards the end. And as mentioned before, this is a mistake, and so please help to keep it clear. My presentation has these agenda items: our organization and services. I'll speak a little bit about the forum, how important it is and how important it is for you to actually be part of it. Some important considerations. I'll go through a summarized itinerary and steps. Then a guideline of what you should consider as a checklist of things to take with you. And then the last thing is the goals. So Dar es Salaam follows a theme, and that is, if I prepare you both religiously here, and if we prepare you logistically here, that theme continues when you get there. And that theme is evident when you look at the organization and services. So we put you in the center as the person going there, having understood the logistical aspect of Hajj and the religious aspect of Hajj, and then we surround you with two sets of people. One is what we call a group leader. And that group leader is a person who is dedicated to his group, period. An example would be that if you're going in a program, let's pick a program, let's say it's program 4, there's A or B or C, and I have 140 people in program 4A. I have another 75 people in program 4B as an example. I'll take the 4A 140 people and divide it into groups. It'll be a group that'll be about 45 to 48 people, about the size that would fit in a bus. And I will give it a number, and you will know that number. If you are in that group, it'll be on your ID card. An email should have been sent out already by Dar es Salaam showing you, here's your group list. And the purpose of the email is to make sure that your loved ones are with you in the same group because they're traveling together. And so the group leader's job is to continue to provide you administrative and logistical guidance throughout the trip. His job is to look after those 45 to 48 people. And then you have the imam that are dedicated to the stream. They're not an imam one per group, they're an imam to the stream. So for program 4A, for example, I have Sheikh Abdul Hakim Muhammad. I may have another imam in 4A. I think 4C is Qalam Institute as an example. So these imams will look after the entire stream as far as giving lectures are concerned, as far as Q&A are concerned, as far as guidance, because the questions don't end. You cannot possibly think of all the situations you come across, so the questions will arise even while you're going through the journey, and you need to be able to find someone who can give you an appropriate response. Then we also have a ladies rep, and the ladies liaison or ladies representative is just that. We have a lady, or at least 2 or 3 of them, in a given program across 4A, B, C, if I use that as an example, that tend to work with the women in the program. It could be escorting them to the Darada in Medina, being in the tent with them when they're separated, a man cannot enter there. Or in some cases, or in most cases, women feel comfortable when they have the issues to speak to another woman rather than speak directly to a male group leader. So we also have a ladies rep. All of these 3 people you'll get to know. You'll actually meet them when you get there. You might see 1 or 2 of them in the flight from here, but they're there to just provide the general guidance during the actual flight. And so you will know the cell phone numbers, they will stay with you, they will move from place A to place B with you. And so, and the idea behind it is that you don't ask the group leader a religious question, you reserve that for the imam. The group leader is there for the administrative and logistical questions. So in the example that I gave you, I may have 3 groups or 4 groups in 4A, and I may have another 3 or 4 groups in 4B, and another 2 or 3 groups in 4C. There's a set of management folks, there are 2 of them, 2 roles, program manager and operation manager, as you can see on the slide. A program manager's job is an overall responsibility for the entire program. That in our example would be 4A, B, and C. So he is going to work with all of the group leaders, all of the imams, and the ladies rep. And supporting him is a person who's called an operations manager, and his job is to work with all the departments in Saudi Arabia to enable the facilities that are required for this program. Luggage transfer, for example. Buses must arrive at a certain time, etc., etc. So these 2 folks are combined responsible for providing these services to the program. You will get to know who your program manager is over there. We have already assigned them. Actually, they will be, if they have not already scheduled it, they will be actually scheduling calls here in the USA, introducing themselves and each and every group leader in the teleconference call, or even might be a webinar type of a call, so you'll get to actually see them and know who they are. So before you depart, you will know your group number, you will know who the group leader is, you will know who the program manager is, you will know who your imams are. And also, if you have attended the classes or the seminars or the teleconference calls or watched the videos that we have in the forum, you will have again come up to speed on both aspects of Hajj, the religious aspect of Hajj and the administrative aspect of Hajj. So this theme continues. Now I just want you to know that behind these set of folks are specific individuals of Dar es Salaam employees. You always find someone from Dar es Salaam when you're arriving in Medina or Mecca, or when you're departing from those airports. That permanently assigned there. We have representatives that when you get to the hotel, you don't go to the check-in counter of the hotel, you meet the Dar es Salaam rep that actually does the checking in for you. You have, for example, luggage. If you are in program 4, the example that I've chosen in this seminar, transferring from Medina to Mecca, you don't take your check baggage with you. It's picked up by us a night before and transferred home in the cab. And so, sounds like a small thing, but it's approximately 6,000 pieces of luggage that we have going back and forth. Okay? So there's a whole department behind it. There's a special luggage tag that we've created, and you'll see it. And similarly, we have other teams that are responsible for setup in Mina, setup in Arafat, any other issues in Mecca, or any other issues in Medina. So this organization is set up with specific names and individuals there for the sole purpose is to make sure that the services are rendered to you. And our main purpose is really just this. Please do not worry about mundane things and make sure that your heart is connected to that place and make sure that you concentrate on your ibadat, which is why we are there to make sure that other things are taken care of. Some people will unusually worry even if you tell them this will be taken care of, they want to know every minute detail. You're actually causing grief for yourself when you do that. And the reason I say that is because this is a journey of the heart. I can provide you the best possible arrangement, but know this, that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to test you, there is nothing I can do. If He wants to test you, there is nothing I can do. So first and foremost, put your trust in Him, seek His help, ask from Him after every salah when you raise your hand, and do remember that this is not just an invitation to you, it's an honor bestowed upon you. The honor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to visit His house, you're honored by Him. And so how would you express your gratitude to Him? That you are being invited so that you can come back with a clean slate, everything wiped off. Just think about it. You need to reflect on this thing. And so if He were to test you, you will be tested. So the moment you leave your house, you step out of your house, you are in His path. And all of these things that we're describing are being made available to you so that the path is easier. But it's not from us. It's still from Him. The enabler is Him. We are simply the facilitator. We are simply the facilitator. It is all that is done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But first and foremost, put your trust in Him, and then don't grief yourself and concentrate on this inner journey. The next thing I will cover is the documents you should expect to receive from Dar es Salaam and what they are. So your passports are with us. And so once the visa is granted, we will return the passport to you. It will have a label on the back of it. Don't remove the label. It is used by us for tracking the passport, as the passport is not kept by you when you arrive there. It's taken away from you at the airport, either in Jeddah or Medina, and kept by the government. And they pass it on to the Mutawif. That's the person in charge of providing services for the pilgrims from North America. And we have people dedicated to work with the Mutawif in his office to make sure that he has it. And so we use that label to track it, because we know whose passport, who's arriving, and so forth. When you get your e-ticket, read it. Understand exactly the departure date and time of the flight. Know which terminal to go to. There are multiple terminals in the airport. You must also take with you the proof of immunization against meningitis. It is required here by the Saudi consulate in order for them to actually grant you the visa. But when you land in either Jeddah or Medina, at times they've also demanded to see it that you have it. So take that with you. Don't leave it behind. We will, inshallah, give you something called an e-book. And the e-book is actually a spelled out itinerary day by day. The day 1, you arrive. Day 2, there's going to be a lecture. Day 3, we'll do Mazarat in Medina, and you should be downstairs in the lobby after Fajr, 6 a.m. Day 4 would be I'm picking up your luggage to transfer from Medina to Makkah. Make sure the luggage is tagged and outside the door, outside the room by 11 p.m. So we have this thing detailed down to that level. Where people actually have issues with is that they don't read it. And then they get over there and they say, I don't know anything about what's going on. So read the stuff. We're not sending it to you for any other purpose other than for you to know this is our plan for you, so you ought to know what the plan is. Because anything that is not mentioned, any of those events or times that's not mentioned, it's your free time. You can go to the Haram, you can go as you please. But know what the plan is. The Hajj videos, we have several of them that are posted in the forum. And the forum has been up since April, by the way. We have the 11-part how to perform Hajj with Dr. Muhammad Salah. We have the HD video of Dr. Hamid speaking on how to perform Hajj. We have Dr. Yasir Qadi's fifth of Hajj and practical advice. So these are there for you to watch from home and become familiar. We're not going to be providing a separate DVD or physical DVD. We'll give you a personal photo ID card, a badge, and an identification tag. We also have a wonderful book by Dr. Hamid Steven. It's a very nice print. Just arrived in the office in New York. We'll provide that to you along with the artwork. And as far as the Ihram is concerned, those who are going in programs that begin in Makkah will be program 3 or program 1, C and D. They should be receiving the Ihram here in the United States. Those whose program begins in Medina, they will receive the Ihram in Medina, not here. Okay. And as far as SIM card is concerned, I'll speak a little bit more about that because we normally provide a complimentary SIM card. And there are some challenges with that started last year. And we were able to solve it for last year. We're still solving it for this year, so I'll cover that in a moment. What you see up on the screen is a sample of what a passport and the label behind it looks like. Okay, so don't remove this label. This is a sample of a picture ID card, and this ID card serves in lieu of the passport, because now you don't have a passport anymore. So this ID card is also your ticket to the restaurant. If we're going to go out and have meals, you need to know your class now. So this will contain things like my group number, it's visible. I'm in group 10. My program, my ID, 6A-6000 is my ID that is on record with the Islam system. And then you see something called MK131 and MD181. MK stands for Makkah and MD stands for Medina. That is a room serial number. Not your room number, it's a room serial number. It's our way of being able to do a fairly quick checking in when you come in. We normally have a stack of rooming list. And it'll start with room number 1 and then we'll go on to room number 200. And if you walk in the lobby, I like to find out what room number has been assigned. Right now it's just a serial number. As the keys are obtained from the hotel, we then assign the actual room number against that. So it's very difficult to go through that stack. By having a serial number or ID card, you know exactly where to look at that list to find the corresponding room number. That's what that stands for, in case you're wondering. The back of the card will have your airline. The back of the card will have your return date. It'll have the Swiss hotel or the hotel in Makkah and Medina, the telephone number. The emergency contact number that I'm showing you in this sample is not relevant for 2017. This was used last year. You will also have in the back of your ID card an emergency number that will be manned by someone from Dar es Salaam 7x24, just in case you need to call someone. The luggage tag that I'm showing you here are in addition to the luggage tag that you should normally put on your luggage. So if you're traveling anywhere, you'll have a luggage tag on your luggage. So continue to do that. These tags are in addition to that. The purpose of these tags are several folds. Number one, it helps us doing the transfer of luggage from internally to this luggage. Number two, we will ask you to put this luggage tag here in the United States before you check in with the carrier, because in Saudi Arabia it's easier to spot. Number two, three, should your luggage get lost and doesn't arrive, you will file a lost baggage report and give it to us, and we will continue to go in this huge hall that has thousands of luggages, and it's very easy to pick up the luggage that belongs to us. So these will be provided to you, several per person, in that final package. So these are the things you're going to get with the visa or the passport is returned to you. The luggage tag, the ID card, the book, and so forth. With respect to SIM, there has been a new security requirement that came into effect in 2016, and that is that they need to know the person to whom the SIM has been given. We used to give out a local Saudi SIM card, actually have it physically shipped here, and we'll give it out to you with the final package. Well, we can no longer just acquire those cards because they need to know who has it been given to, and they need a copy of the person's passport. They also need the person's fingerprints. So last year we were able to find a solution where we told you what your phone number would be, but you got your card over there. This year we're working on a solution. We hope that in early August you'll be able to hear from us as to what the solution is going to be. It's going to be either the same as last year, which is we'll tell you what your Saudi phone number is going to be, so that you'll know it here, but you will get your physical SIM card over there, or it would be one of the carriers in the United States through whom you can acquire the SIM that is worldwide data plan and voice plan, etc. It could be either or. We're working on both tracks. But we don't know what the solution is going to be. Inshallah, we'll let you know. Why is this important? Because I think you ought to carry a phone with you. Okay, so this slide is about what type of phone. It should be unlocked. First and foremost, it should be unlocked. Many folks don't realize that if I am using a chip from a carrier in the United States, it does not need to be unlocked. But if I'm going to use a local Saudi chip, I will need to have the phone unlocked. If it's not locked, it will not work. It should be a GSM phone, quad band or tri-band, and I would suggest to make sure that you have at least a WhatsApp or some messaging platform on it, because we intend to actually use a messaging platform to communicate. Last year's example that when I mentioned groups and group leaders, so each group leader had his entire folks in his own messaging group that allowed for two-way communication. We plan to do something similar. Last year we used a messaging platform called Group Meet. This year we're thinking of using WhatsApp, and this will all come out in the next couple of weeks, inshallah. Okay. And the thing that I want to remind you is something that you have to be conscious of, and the fact that you're not performing Hajj for yourself. So you have to be extra careful that you don't really disturb others, especially in the masjid. So get used to the fact that when you're walking into Masjid al-Nabawi with your phone, either it's turned off or it's in silent mode. Okay. Move on to the Dar es-Salaam Forum. What is the Dar es-Salaam Forum? It is an online repository of information that you can actually interact with. You can participate in, not only just to read, but also to participate, to ask questions, or to make comments, or to make suggestions. What we've done is we have provided 4 folders. How many of you have actually are on the forum right now? Okay. So those who are not on the forum, an invitation was sent out, and you ought to join the forum. The information from the Dar es-Salaam folder, the definition of that is an information from us to you. And so this is where you will find the videos, Hajj videos, the fiqh videos, or the recording of the July 18th business seminar. All of that goes in there. It's from us to you. And there are also video sessions. We had some live video sessions before Ramadan that was on Ustream, and it was recorded. There are some video sessions also from last year, but we're planning to have video sessions in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're planning to have one in Arabic on how to perform Hajj. We're planning to have one in Urdu, how to perform Hajj. We're planning to have a women's session with Sister Hana Gamal, women's issues during Hajj. So these are all being planned, and you will see them happening on Saturdays or Sundays in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Then we have general questions. And as the name suggests, these are general questions. These are logistical questions. These are administrative questions. Things like, I need a stool to sit for prayers. Where do I get them? What's the luggage allowance? How about converting Saudi riyals? Should I take some from here? So those types of questions, do I need a sleeping bag in Muzdalifah? So what I did is I started off with the forum having these questions already with the answers back in April. And so if you go in and you read it, and then you find that you have a question within a particular topic, you can go ahead and participate and ask the question. If you find the topic doesn't even exist, then you can even create a new topic. But I want you to go out and first understand the structure of the forum, because what will happen between now and departure is there are folks who will join, not bother reading what's already there, and create duplicate subjects and duplicate questions. And I spend a considerable amount of time, sometimes late in the evening, or right after Fajr, trying to send them messages. I moved your post from there to there, please read the instructions, etc. And the reason I'm doing it is the past years that we've been doing this thing, it becomes pretty hard to navigate if you don't keep it straight. The third category is religious questions. Can I wear earmuffs during the haram? What about using Vaseline? What about soap? What about wearing a face mask? What type of Hajj can I perform? How do I make my intention for the Hajj? So these are religious questions that are already there with the answers. And within this subcategory for the women, it's called the women's questions only, because they have their own issues doing Hajj. And so that's just for them to actually ask the questions. And there are a few of them already there with the answers from Dr. Muhammad. And the last one has been pretty good. It's program-specific questions. So if you're in program 2A and you have a question that is not general in nature on 4A and you want to ask about that question, for example, when would we fly from Medina to Mecca? That's a specific question to program 4. You would post those questions there, but mostly what I see people use it for is to network. You know, hey, I'm from Dallas, anybody else from Dallas, come and can meet. And this is phenomenal because people actually get to know each other. Some people will say, I'll go to the seminar in Allen, hopefully I'll see you there, and that's goodness. I mean, again, to know each other, and it is a good thing to do. We are not used to the fact that we are supposed to get to know each other. But I remind myself and yourself that Hajj is mandatory on all the Muslims at the same time. So you're not going to be by yourself. You're going to be there with too many other people that you can't even relate to, people who cannot even communicate with because they speak a different language, or understand the culture, or understand the tradition. But guess what? They're there for the same purpose as you are. Yeah. They're there for the same purpose. So make sure that there is some relationship. This is the greatest demonstration of brotherhood and sisterhood anywhere in the world. So if you want to join us, this is restricted to people from Dar Islam only because we're actually bearing our soul. We're telling you all the details, so we don't really want anyone who is not Dar Islam to get in because then he will not be able to, or she will not be able to understand. Definitely not our competitors. You need to register online to participate. When you go out and register online, make sure that I know who you are. If you put a cryptic username and an email address that's not in our system, I wouldn't know who you are. So that puts in the pending status that I have to send you an email and you have to respond back to me as to who you are before I go and approve it. But if you need to use the email address that was provided to Dar Islam at the time you registered, it's very quick. Or provide your full name in the comment box, it's pretty good. This is what the forum looks like. The 4 folders, when you first log in, this is what you'll see. You will see clearly the first one is information from Dar Islam and so forth. Just to give you an idea, we have 831 members as of this morning, not counting the 18 that are in pending status, because I didn't have a chance to actually deal with them. This number was 700 on July the 8th. So in less than 2 weeks, it's growing. We have 153 different threads or subjects or topics with 625 posts. This 625 posts was actually 500 posts just last week, as an example. So it's pretty active, right? So I want you to participate in the forum. I think it allows you to actually prepare for this journey on your own time. And those who are very, very busy, whether you're online or whether you're here, the more you reflect on this journey, it's unlike any other journey, the more you're going to benefit. I've said this before, I'm emphasizing it again. Don't be those that in my 25 years I've come across where they said, okay, I'm very busy, I'm very professional, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this appointment. Just give me the book. I have a 12-hour flight, I'll leave. There are those that look like that. You can certainly do that. You can certainly read, and you can certainly go through the mechanics of it. And you find the same individual in the end saying, well, I think I performed Hajj. I think it's okay. Because they don't get their inner satisfaction. Because they're going through the ritual. Just like you coming home one day really tired and just making do and quickly prayed before after Isha. You went through the motion. At the end, you say, okay, I'm done. But really, did you pray? Did you connect? Don't do that. Make sure you can connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for that, you need to start reflecting on the honor bestowed upon you and start showing your gratitude to Him for giving this opportunity. And so go through the motions one by one. A lot of people will get into, okay, what do I do when I go for Tawaf? How many people go for the first time ever? Fantastic. How many have never been before? This is the first time ever. Okay, for those who are going for the first time ever, I know you have a laundry list of questions, but take it from me, from my experience, it's one thing you should know here, and you should know it inside out, backwards, blindfolded. Got it? You should know it inside out, backwards, blindfolded, and know it with confidence. And that is how to perform Umrah. The rest of the manasik, what happens in Mina, what happens in Arafat, what happens in Muzdalifah, there's plenty of time and everybody goes with you step by step. But the moment, the actual spiritual high that you get is when you actually go for the first time inside, see the Kaaba and start your Tawaf. And that's also the moment the shaitan is waiting for you. He's going to cause you to think, okay, what if I get separated? Oh, we started off, I can't see my group leader, he just disappeared. What am I supposed to do next? You will not learn how to perform Umrah when you're doing it. You will not learn that. If I am a group leader and I have a group of 45 people, and we gather together in the hotel lobby and walk into the Haram, and we start our Umrah, how many people do you think will come out once Umrah is done? 45? I'd be happy to be 10. Right? So, those who are going for the first time, all you need to worry about is that your family members with you. If you miss out on the group leader because of the crowd, don't be petrified that you're going to get lost. I'll show you why you're going to get lost in a moment. And the reason I'm saying this is because you don't want to lose the moment. Do you know there's no prescribed dua for Umrah, right? When you go to Tawaf, people say, what do I say? Whatever you want. What do you mean, whatever I want? Yeah, whatever you want. There's only one dua that was heard being made by the Prophet ﷺ, which is Rabbana Hasana, wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban. So one has to think, wow, I'm going to go around 7 times, and nothing has been prescribed. Why is that? What's the wisdom behind that? It's a blank check. Go ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what are we going to ask Him? It's a blank check, given to you by the most mystical one. But ask in such a way that your heart connects, not the ritual, reading it. Ask in any language you want. It doesn't have to be in Arabic, if you're not an Arabic speaking person. The main theme here is that your heart needs to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you are now at His place that He has described as a place of peace, that is described as an inviolable place. And you need to know how to connect with Him. And you need to start reflecting on that here and now. And that's important. So going for the first time or going for the second time, an opportunity like that is phenomenal. Right? People will write down in a piece of paper, okay, I have to ask for this, I have to ask for this. I've seen those too in my past. But then amazingly, when they actually go there, they just draw a blank. The piece of paper doesn't work anymore. It has to be from your heart. It's an inner journey. And then you'll find sometimes making dua that you never thought of asking. You're making dua that you never thought of asking. And you say, wow, I asked for this, I asked for that, I never thought of that. You wonder why that is. That's the gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you. Because if He wants to grant you something, He will make you ask for it first. That's why you're asking for it. It's a very deep, emotional, spiritual journey. It's not just walking around the Kaaba. If you reflect on it and if you take it as such. So think from this moment on what you're about to do. The day of Arafah is the day of what? What are we rehearsing on the day of Arafah? We're doing a rehearsal here. It's a rehearsal of what? It's a rehearsal of something to come. What is it? The day of judgment. It's the day of gathering that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran. He's giving the opportunity to rehearse that. Because that's exactly what it looks like. People are out there with 2 pieces of shroud, they're buried in. It doesn't really matter what language you speak, what part of the world you come from, what your culture is. You're low and you're humble. You are among the fuqara. And you beg and plead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have been given only that moment from after the Dhuhr to sunset. Right? That moment to plead your case to the judge of judges. And that's what you do. You spend their time begging and pleading and asking for yourself, for your family, for this dunya, for the akhirah. Because on the actual day of judgment, you cannot ask for forgiveness. It's too late. You can only hope for His mercy. So I like to actually quote a verse from the Quran, which is fairly appropriate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the day of judgment, He mentions, He says, يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ. He's speaking about the day of judgment, saying on that day, لَا يَنْفَعُ. You will not have any nafa or any profit. مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ. From your wealth or from your children. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Except for the one who comes to me with a sound heart. قَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. So that's what's required of you. There is no prescribed dua as long as it comes from your heart. So how do you prepare for that? I can do videos, I can be here speaking, but I can't prepare your heart for it. You have to prepare your heart for it, you have to prepare your mind for it. It requires for you to sit there and reflect. Maybe one day after Fajr, between Fajr and sunrise, you ought to dedicate to thinking about the gratitude, the blessings, the countless blessings that is coming your way because He has honored you to come to His house. And think about it for a moment, and think about what you'll ask Him. How would you plead Him? You will see emotions come naturally. You will see you raising your hands and saying, my Lord, thank you for the opportunity. Make it easy for me. Grant me my du'as. Allow me this to happen. You'll ask yourself automatically, and that's the type of reflection you need. Because all of the logistics and so forth becomes a distraction. I'm going to start on the next thing called important considerations, and the reason I put up this disclaimer is very simple. I've been with Islam for about 25 years, and I can tell you that the people that Islam actually are sincere from the owner down in the services they say they will provide. I'm going to share with you the things that we did in 2016. But the reason for the disclaimer is that many things are beyond our control. Many things are beyond our control. I'll give you one example. Last year when we were there, we decided that the calendar would change. It's no longer 29 days with Qadr, it'll be 30 days with Qadr. What do you do? If you're in program 4, you're supposed to start on the 1st of Dhul-Hijjah, your competition. All of a sudden, that's moved out. What do you do? So we have to actually mitigate those kinds of circumstances. So we had a plan A before the party and a plan B as such. So I'm sharing this with you, but know that these things could change because of those mitigating circumstances and things beyond our control. But we are sincere in what we say we're going to deliver to you, inshallah. This is what makes Islam unique. Everybody can provide the same facilities, but not necessarily the same services. So the thing that you should consider is that you're going to go for Hajj in hot weather. Maybe not for you from Dallas, Texas, but I'm from Toronto, Canada, so I can tell you it was hot when I was staying when I came in. So, one of the things you should do is seek medical advice and see if you want to take these electrolyte enhanced drink tablets. Because when you perspire, this is specific about the 5 days of Hajj. I'm not worried about when you're actually in the hotels in our family. When you leave the hotels, when you're out in the desert, in the camps, that's what the concern is. Because that is the Hajj, not the hotels. You've been waiting there, you've been going to the Haram, that's great. But the actual Hajj doesn't start until the 30th of August, which is the 8th of Dhul-Hijjah. That's the manasik. Put on your ihram, now you're going to Mina. We concentrate on facilities and services quite a bit on in that part of the manasik. So this is where you perspire and you lose a lot of body fluid, but you also lose some sugar and salt. And so consider that, but make sure you get medical advice before you actually go out and buy one of these. And that if you're diabetic or otherwise, that it's okay for you to take it. My wife and I had just one of these, and we consumed a few of them, and we still had some to bring back home. So this is something that is helpful. That's not going to provide you bottled water. It's all over the place in a minute. You just take one of the waters, just open it up, shake it up, and drink it to replace your slightly away. Somebody suggested it was very useful to them to have a wet towel. This is activated when you actually squeeze it, right? Again, where will you use it? In Arafat, when you're outdoors, for example, if you want to go outdoors, or the long lineup at the train station from leaving Arafat to Muzdalifah, or Muzdalifah. This is the place where you use these things. And I'll explain exactly how you carry them over there. Not from here to Saudi Arabia, but how do you carry them during the manasik in a moment. This is new. This is someone that suggested it was very useful to them, so I thought I'd put it in there. It's not for your consideration. The picture on the right is about 23 ounces, and you know, when you put cold water and you seal it, it remains cold for 24 hours. Right? So it's pretty nice to have. And again, it will be used potentially in Arafat and Muzdalifah. Where and how you will take this, it comes in a moment. Because it's going to be during hot weather, you need to avoid the sun. There's no need for you to go out and stand in the sun. Stay in the shade. It's okay. But if you're one of those that are really, really sensitive to sunlight, it's okay to use a sunscreen as long as you want. Pace yourself. I cannot say enough, I cannot emphasize enough of what that means. We become actually very emotional when we get there. We want to spend as much time in the house as possible. So we go there at 2 o'clock in the morning for Tahajjud, and we actually stay till Fajr, then we come back, and then go for breakfast, and we meet others, and then we barely get enough sleep, and we have to go for Dhuhr. You know that lasts about 3 days, 4 days in your flat. Quantity doesn't matter. Quality matters. Okay? You need to concentrate on what you're doing. 2 things. Consider taking vitamin supplements with you to boost some energy. Some people actually take those small energy bars with them. Again, this is for the manasik effect, not necessarily when you're in hotels. As far as clothing is concerned, make sure that you wear light clothes. You know, what is a light cloth? I've listed it there. An example would be, you know, the thawb that the Saudis wear, or shalwar kameez, right? Or if you're not used to any of them, you really want to wear pants and shirt, make sure they're sort of baggy a little bit, you know, cotton that breathes a bit. For the women, if you're planning to wear an abaya on top of it, because you can have an abaya, the clothes inside doesn't have to be fancy. And very, very light cotton material is the only time we'll be in those inner clothes will be in your room, for example. So that's one example. And if you're not used to wearing those abayas, then make sure that whatever you're wearing is pretty open, pretty baggy, if you will. You can purchase them over there. Yabai is available over there. Floats are available over there. People ask me, what do you take? Well, what I do is I take just the pant and shirt that I wear on the aircraft is the same pant and shirt that I come back with after it's clean laundered over there. The rest of the time I have 5 sets of clothes and undergarments and pajamas, that's it. So once I'm on my slipper and summer sandal, it stays that way till I'm there. So I'll just put on one clothes, next clothes. When the third one is dirty, I'll give it out for laundry when I'm going to the fourth and the fifth one. But I time it. I make sure, okay, my luggage is going to be picked up on this day. I got to make sure that everything is with me, not stuck in the laundry somewhere, right? Or when I go to the other side, I'll need a clean one. Make sure that I have at least a clean one. In an emergency, you can buy anything like that. So if you, that's how we provide you 2 square meals, right, in the hotels in Makkah and Medina. During the monastic activity becomes 3 meals. But if you feel that have an inclination that you want to go buy something from outside, be careful if it's out in the open because hot weather tends to spoil the food very quickly. My rule of thumb is buy that which you can peel. Buy a banana, buy an orange, buy an apple. You can find them in the Vindaloo stores this summer. Then comes the category of wheelchair. People ask, I need a wheelchair. Well, we need to define what that is. So it comes in 4 different categories for us. One is, I need it to the airport. That's a very simple one. Call your agent, that's not agent, make sure that the request has been put in with the airline. So when you check in, then you'll be able to get that assistance at the airport, not only here, but also during the transit airport, and also during the arrival in Saudi Arabia. The second category is, look, I'm otherwise healthy, but I might need the wheelchair for tawaf inside. If you need the wheelchair for tawaf inside, it comes with the person. Okay? And these people are to be found close to the hotel entrances on the courtyard of the haram. And they are unofficial people wearing normal clothes, and there are official people that normally wear a green or a brown vest coat. So go with the official people. The group leader will go with you and help you acquire one, but you have to haggle with it, like being in a flea market. They kind of look at you, and if you're big and fat, and the crowd is pretty busy in the haram, they raise the price, and then you have to bargain with them. And then one thing that is important to understand is to let them know where to drop you off. Because if you don't do that, to them the drop-off is in Marwa, once Umrah is finished. And Marwa is on the other side of the haram, still a long walk back to the hotel. So one of the things you need to negotiate is, no, I need to be dropped off right here. You get all these excuses until they say, I'll give you 50 hours more for his week. Right? And so you give the money to the person who's going to actually get the services, but let the person not ever pay this guy until he drops you off in his visiting place. You will try to get the money from him. Umrah is done. Can I have the money? Now, take me back where we're supposed to. Then I'll give you the money. Roughly speaking, it's between $100 to $130 per use. So if you're one of those who will require a wheelchair for tawaf al-sa'i, you will need it 3 times. Umrah, tawaf al-ifada, and tawaf al-wada. Tawaf al-wada does not have sa'i, but Umrah and tawaf al-ifada don't have sa'i with it. The third category is, I'm going with a member of my family that requires a wheelchair all the time, but don't worry about it, I'll push it. So you're looking for a wheelchair only, because the person to push is already a family member. With me so far? In which case, I would say that if the wheelchair is a normal, ordinary wheelchair, not something that is prescribed by the doctor here, it's a very specialized wheelchair, then you don't need to purchase one here. You can purchase one over there, either in Makkah or Medina. They're readily available in the pharmacies. And it's going to cost you less than $100. But there are 2 types. The types where the footrest is better. I try to avoid them. Because if I bump into the guy in front of me, it could hurt me pretty badly. I try to get the one that has a rubber coating, a rubber padding, so that it's easier. And so, what you need to do is you need to take with you a bicycle lock. You will not use it when you're staying in the hotel in Makkah and Medina, because the wheelchairs can be brought into your room. But when you're there, there's no room for wheelchairs inside the tent. So the wheelchair tends to stay outside. And then somebody borrows it when you need it. Probably will return for you, but not when you need it. So you need to lock it up when you're in there, for example. At the end of Hajj, you can donate the wheelchair. Very simple. The fourth category is, I'm going for Hajj. I have no one to help me. Look, I can manage everything, but I need someone to help me during the manasik. Mina, Arafah, Muzdalifah, Mina, Tawaf al-Ifada. In which case, we have to hire a person for you. We have to actually also have people from Hajj, because he's going to be in Mina with you, he's going to occupy the space, he's going to ride the train and all that stuff. And depending on which requirements are, we can give you a pretty good quotation as to what that person will be. Don't wait till the last moment. Don't go over there and say, now I need it. It's pre-arranged here, and we have a few already this year that want to have in service. So those are the four categories of wheelchair services. Electrical power, voltage. There's a difference between the United States and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia operates in a 220 volt current, but make sure that any device you're about to plug in can handle it. If the device cannot take 220 volt, then don't plug it in or have an adapter that converts it down. And what I'm showing you here are simply the plugs and the plug adapter, not a power adapter that converts the power from one voltage to the other. That is something you have to purchase on your own based on the device you're taking. What I'm showing you on the left side are the types of plugs. They're the two round pin plugs. And some of the hotels have these plugs that are three pin plugs that are generally UK type plugs, European type plugs. So hotels have either or. And on the right side, I'm showing you the adapter where you can put in your North American plug on the back side, and then the other side will plug into the wall. Or you can have a universal adapter that has many forms of one versus the other with you, because you will need that over there. Okay? Power bank, you will not need it when you're in a hotel room. Power banks is something you'll need when you're in the massive hotel. If you are taking a cell phone with you, even though we have electricity in Mina and also in Arafat, but there are not too many extension cords. There are not too many external outlets. So having a power bank that is already charged up completely before you head to Mina gives you at least 2 or 3 charges during the lesson. And I would suggest 20,000 milliamps will probably cost you $40 to buy and charge it and take it with you. In regards to Wi-Fi, it's available in most of the hotels. In Medina, I know that Medina Movenpick is free of charge. It's free of charge in your rooms. When you're in the restaurant, when you're in the lobby, it doesn't work. And the reason is because they discovered years ago that people from the streets were coming in and using the Wi-Fi. So we decided to disable it at the lobby or in the restaurant level, but free of room works. In some hotels, they actually do charge. In Mecca, they start charging for Wi-Fi. So you may have to pay for Wi-Fi when you're in Mecca, for example. It depends on the hotel. So inquire with them. Those who are going to be in program 1 and 2, they will go to the apartment hotel in Azazia. We'll have Wi-Fi available, but generally the reception is not that great. It depends on how many people are hanging off the router. Right? So it's the number of people in the network, the traffic. The last one is people ask whether you're going to provide Wi-Fi in Mina. We did in the past, but we had an internal discussion and a debate, and we chose not to provide it this year. And we said, why not? Well, sadly, what tends to happen is everybody is very calm and patient and somber when they actually go Arafat. And when they come back from Arafat on the day of Eid and for the next 2 days, it becomes almost like a party atmosphere. Selfies and this and that and so forth. And I just thought that, we had this discussion and thought, you're still in Hajj. You just rehearsed the day of judgment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in verse number 203, which is why I put it up there. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْدُودَاتٍ. And remember Allah on the appointed days. And the appointed days, as described by the scholars, are the days after Hajj, Wajh and Mina. So he's saying, and remember him during those days. And there is no sin on you if you leave on the 12th of the Hijjah. There is no sin on you if you stay until the 13th of the Hijjah. And the verse continues to say, لِمَنِ اتَّقَى. It is for those who are conscious of Allah. And then a very forceful message by saying, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَعَلَمُوا. Be conscious of Allah and know أَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ, that you will indeed one day be gathered in the real gathering. You just did rehearsal. So trying to create an atmosphere in the camp by not having Wi-Fi would cause or remove some of that distraction. If it's an emergency, you can call someone. There's tons of ways of doing that. That's not the issue. It's just that the Wi-Fi tends to be fairly distracting. What I say to people is to stay away from idle talk and gossip, is that you take upon yourself that as soon as you depart, you will start the Quran from the very beginning. You'll be objective of finishing the Quran during the trip. So anytime you're in idle time, just go back and read the Quran until you finish it. That's much better way to spend time. Room and checking in. The hotel room consists of 2 standard beds. Now that shouldn't be surprising to anyone. If I go to any hotel in North America, how many beds do I find there? 2. What if I tell the hotel I need an extra bed, a 3rd bed? What kind of bed do I get? Temporary bed, right? It's like a cot or something like that. The same rules apply over there. The rooms have 2 beds, and they will use a temporary bed. And the reason we're mentioning is because people who are in a shared triple or quad occupancy walk into the room and they find the 2 beds already occupied by people that came in before him, and he gets the temporary bed. And guess what happens after that? The Jamarat stones comes out of that strong and it turns. You guys, I picked the same as him. We don't know how to share in the room, but that's the configuration, and the rate the hotel gave us was based on that configuration. No different anywhere. You have to decide in the room who gets the bed and who gets the temporary bed. Now, if you're a family of 4, it's up to you to decide who's the black sheep of the family. But if you're sharing as male, female, adults, I can't. But there are going to be temporary beds. And the reason I'm telling you this so that you don't get yourself upset in scenarios like this. The second thing is, the checking in time, generally speaking, is 4 p.m. That's general. Sometimes it's even later. Now, you will notice, if you look at your flight itinerary, if you're going on Etihad, if you're going on Emirates, or even Turkish Airlines, those who are going to Medina first as an example, you'll find the flights are landing at what time? Anybody? 4 a.m., 3 a.m., things like that. We can't help the fact that the flights land at that time. So we are going to do our best to accommodate you, but know that you may have to wait till the rooms are ready. If the occupancy begins that day, it doesn't begin the moment you get to the hotel, it begins when the room is available. Sometimes we end up at the very late stage, not now, we end up getting the room for an extra night, but they don't sell one night, they sell a block of 3 nights. So right now I can't buy that one night from you, but maybe later on I'll be able to. But generally speaking, we tell you is to make sure that you are prepared to wait, and we'll do our best to accommodate you. If I didn't tell you that, you will go with an expectation of being in the room right away, and it doesn't happen. If you're traveling for 22 hours, and you're telling me the room's not ready. No, it's not ready, because it was ready in the afternoon. The reason I mention this is because, there is a verse in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Al-Hajj Ashhurun Ma'lumat. The months of Hajj are well known, and we are in the months of Hajj. It started when? In Shawwal, or Eid, after Ramadan. Shawwal and Zulqa'dah and the first 10 days of Zulhijjah are considered months of Hajj. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to say, فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجَّ فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. It tells you 3 things. And whoever then undertakes this journey, let him know that he cannot do these 3 things. Number 1, there shall be no lewdness. Number 2, there shall be no committing sins. And number 3, there shall be no arguments during that. Now if you pause there for a moment and you say, but I'm not going to go there to do these things. None of you have the intention to do these things. That's true. None of us want to do these things. We have no intention of doing it. If that is the case, then why has it put in there? Why is it warning you? If you have no intention of doing it, it's because you're going to end up falling into it. You end up falling into it because of these reasons. I get a temporary bed. I'm waiting for a long time. Or for reasons, the fact that there's 2 million other people that you can't even communicate with. the traffic jam, the bus is stuck. So he's giving you a warning, he's giving you that you're coming to my house, but no, there's going to be a code of conduct. I want you to behave in a certain way. No rudeness, no committing sins, no arguments. But then he gives you the flip side of it. As the ayah continues, he says, وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمُ اللَّهُ. SubhanAllah, what an opportunity. And whatever good you do, whatever, you need to find what the good is. Whatever good you do, Allah is aware. And what opportunity to do good when you're around too many people. Phenomenal opportunity. It doesn't have to be that Islam. It can be anybody on the street that you can help with. It can be somebody that, as you're standing at the edge of the courtyard, comes to you and say, can you buy me this? And I've had this experience with me where I'm standing there next to a KFC out there, the person, hungry person comes to me and says, can you buy me this? It was hungry. Opportunity to do good is phenomenal. Helping somebody cross the street or guiding somebody who's lost. So he's telling you not to do these things, but he's also telling you, well, what would you do? Allah is aware. Then he goes on to say, تَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ زَادِ التَّقْوَى, which is what we're doing here. If you want to take provision for the journey, please do so. Whatever you think you need to pack and plan for, do so. But the best thing you can take with you is what? Taqwa, being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then it becomes like a command, وَاتَّقُونِي يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Be conscious of me, or you will understand. Now this consciousness was developed when? يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That He has given us the month of Ramadan. Fasting has been prescribed for you, as it has been prescribed for those before you, so you may become conscious of me, raise yourself nearer to me. And right after Ramadan is the month of Hajj. This is that consciousness. The planning for the trip didn't happen now. It doesn't happen when we read a book. It doesn't happen when we actually have the seminar. It happened when you made the intention. And Ramadan came as a gift to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the taqwa that's going to nurture you through that trip. Being patient has a prerequisite of having taqwa. If you don't have taqwa, it'll be very difficult to be patient. So it's not easy to say I'm being patient. I'm going to go quickly through itinerary steps. And just so that I can remove some of your fears. So here's what, I have actually slides behind each one of them. So Medina, Mecca, apartment hotel, Mina, Arafat, Muzdalifah, and so forth. And so Medina, Mecca, an apartment hotel, this is a picture of Masjid al-Nabawi, especially for those who are going for the first time. If you see those white little umbrellas all around the building, these are umbrellas that come on because the courtyard is marble. And the umbrellas come on before sunrise so that it can shade from the heat of the sun. And you can see the building, and at the very bottom, middle part, you will see this dot, which is the green dome, which is the original masjid. Okay? Qibla is to the bottom. And you'll see the two women's entrance. One is on the west side, one is on the east side. These are northwest and northeast. And the main entrance called the King Fahd Gate. So, in all the programs in 2017, our hotels for Hajj this year are, on the left side is Medina Munawwara, then there is the Hilton, and there is the Shah. How can you get lost again? When you come out of Movenpick, when you enter the courtyard, there are big metal gates, and they have big, huge numbers on them. Movenpick, gate number 15. Hilton or Sharjah, 19, 20, 21. Once you enter and know the gate number you entered with, it's very easy to know how to get back. Right? So these are the hotels. Makkah. You can see I have circled in red King Abdulaziz Gate. These are the major gates with the minarets. So King Abdulaziz Gate's minaret are still under construction, but it's called King Abdulaziz. It also has a number. It's number 1. Gate number 1. The next two minaret, big gate is called King Fahd Gate. It has 2 minarets. It's gate number 67. Most of you will use either one or the other to enter the Haram. Okay? The reason I'm telling you this is because once you're inside the haram, no matter where you are, you will see directions written in English, Arabic, and Urdu. Which way to go to King Fahd Gate, which way to go to King Abdullah's Gate. So you cannot be lost. Right? If you're disoriented because you're somewhere in Marwa or somewhere in the courtyard, you don't know where you came from this and that, and don't worry about it. Look at it, at the end you will see a direction how to get to the gates. And our hotels this year, in the clock tower building complex, is the Fairmont Hotel, which is the clock tower itself. If anybody's in Fairmont, you cannot get lost. This building is visible 9 miles away. If you're in a Swiss hotel, it's in the same building complex as the Fairmont. If you are in the Hyatt Regency, it's a hotel, it's right in front of King Fahd Gate, or the hotel that is the best and the closest to the haram, right at the courtyard is Darul Gate. So this fear of going there with the group for the first time, if I get separated, if I get lost, shouldn't exist. Don't worry about those things. Concentrate on the reason you're there and that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially for those who go for the first time. If you are in program 1 and 2 and you have a few days to spend in the apartment hotel, I'll just let you know what the location of the apartment hotel is. You can see the apartment hotel as in the slide, and you can see to the right of it the Mina camp. That distance, by the way, is 140 miles. The hotel, the apartment hotel, Azizia, is closer to Mina than it is to the Haram. Haram is about 4 miles. Okay? So it's not the distance, it's 4 miles. How long does it take to walk? I wouldn't walk. And it's pretty even hard to take a bus because you go nowhere because of traffic. So these are the buildings that we have. It's close by. But the picture, the Google kind of gives you a very nice, peaceful view. You know, it doesn't tell you there's a cardiac killer, right? And we have some of those uphill streets. This is a building 2 that program 2 stayed in last year. This is from the outside, the top left picture. And the bottom left picture is the lobby inside. And the top right picture is the brother giving the adhan. And then the bottom right picture is Sheikh Abdul Hakim Muhammad giving the lecture. We had open buffet. We had, you know. Now, people will say, brother, I need to go. I need to go to the haram. If you're in program 1A and B, you want to go to the haram every day. I want to go for every prayers. We don't provide that. We provide you a shuttle service maybe for Fajr prayers, and then we'll provide you one in the afternoon to go for Maghrib and Isha. When you go to the haram for Maghrib, you stay there for Isha. Because it takes a lot to come out of the haram. And the difference between Maghrib and Isha is about an hour and 15 minutes. And people tend to be lazy. They actually want to go out and pray in the courtyard because they don't want to go inside. And the reason they want to pray in the courtyard is because they want to be the first one to leave. So you get the impression as you get out, oh my God, the haram is full of people out in the courtyard. But actually it's empty inside. So plan to go ahead if you're going to go inside. And plan to stay for a while before you come out. That's why I say if you're going for Maghrib, you'll go at least 1 hour before Maghrib. Not 15 minutes before. And then you come out after Isha. So, same thing, we're trying to provide the shuttle service out of Azizia. But those who say, no, I have to go there because a prayer is equal to 100,000 times prayers, which is true. Then some scholars say that applies to all the haram, others say no, it doesn't. You have to be actually in the haram. But the way I relate to it is very different. You know, the Prophet made what? 1 Hajj. How many? 1 Hajj. He left Medina and assumed the state of Ihram from Dhul Hulayfa on the 24th of Dhul Qa'dah, which is just outside Medina. And he traveled on foot and on camel with about 120,000 estimated companions for 9 days. And he arrived in Makkah on the 4th of Dhul Qa'dah. And then he performed his Umrah. And he stayed in Makkah from the 4th of Dhul Hijjah till the morning of the 8th of Dhul Hijjah when he went for the massacre. How many times he went to the Haram between the 4th of Dhul Hijjah and the 8th of Dhul Hijjah to pray? How many times do you think he went to the Haram? Even though Makkah was a very small place at the time. How many times? 0. 0 times. You think there's wisdom in that? Quantity matters or quality matters? You want to tire yourself out before the manasik begins, because the manasik is a very rough camping trip. In manasik, you have nights that you can't sleep. And you won't know it unless you forward think. And I will do some forward thinking for you. So it's important to understand that. The other question that I get is whether, my ihram is going to get dirty when I come from Medina. Can I have another ihram? Or if I did Umrah and I put my ihram away, when I say ihram for Hajj, it's going to be dirty. And I've answered that question on the forum. What's your definition of dirt? That it's got dust on it, got a little bit of mud on it. That's not dirt. They travel for how many days? 9 days. You think the ihram will sweat? Yeah. Does that make you feel humble? Does that make you feel like a beggar, a fuqara, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Isn't that how He wants you when you show up? And by the way, when there is no water available for wudu, what do you use to make wudu? Tayammum? Dirt. So how can that dirt on your ihram be dirty? It's the North American mindset that I want something squeaky clean. Right? You need to create the humbleness and humility in yourself when you actually go there. Now, if it's soil, because of bathroom and stuff like that, yes, then you can say, I need to have to wash it, and maybe I'll get out of ihram. I'm just letting you know, there's nothing stopping you from getting a second ihram and using a second ihram. But I'm just giving you a definition of the reason why people say they want to use it is because they think it's dirty because they've been in it for about 20 hours, and so it's smelly. That's not dirty, right? Just to give you an idea. So when you go to Mina, I want you to take with you, what's the slide number of the slide number? You know? Didn't say that. Okay. Just how is there time here? When you go to Mina, you're going to take with you two things. Number one, you're going to take with you a roll-on bag. The roll-on bag that you take with you from here in the aircraft. Right? So what I'm supposed to go over there. Take a nominal size. Don't take a large roll-on bag. You will take the roll-on bag, and the roll-on bag will have what? It will have you change your clothes. How many steps? Actually, you will change your clothes when you come out of Ihram on the 10th of Dhul-Hijjah, 11th of Dhul-Hijjah, and perhaps the 12th of Dhul-Hijjah. 3 sets. Maybe for the women it's 4 sets. You'll have your toothpaste, toothbrush. I'll cover that in the checklist. But that now gives everybody a backpack. That's a pretty good size backpack. I've posted a picture of that in the forum. That backpack you also take with you. Amen. On the 7th of Dhul-Hijjah, before you go to Mina, the night before, whether you are in a hotel in Mecca or you are in Al-Jazira, if you're about to leave the hotel, that's program 3, program 4, program 5, you will check out the morning of Mina. Program 1 and 2 in Al-Jazira, you're going to leave them also the morning when you go to Mina. We offer something, we offer a valuable safekeeping service. Right? So your debit card, credit cards, all that stuff, you don't need it in Mina. We'll give you a nice, sturdy plastic bag. You put it in there, seal it up, write your name, group number, ID number. And there's a process with which we actually take the deposit from you. Now you have maybe 200-300 riyals pocket change. That's all, incidentally. So when you now go to Mina with your carry-on and your backpack, you arrive in Mina. Mina, I just want to let you know, if you look at this map, there are 2 different campsites for people from North America. There's one across the Jamarat, which is what we use, and the normal one, which is way up there. It's so far up there that there's no traffic on the road because the roads are blocked, but you have to come to the Jamarat. It takes you 45 to 15 minutes, one-way walking distance. Okay? Plus the services and so forth. Closer view of our campsite, you can see where our camp is, you can see where the Jamarat is, and you can see where the train station is. So this is an example of what we do. We take our camp and we decide to divide it up. The camp is surrounded by metal railings. With the gates, most of the gates are closed with a security guard, except for one main gate that's open with a security guard. We want to keep it secure a little bit. And so we will take the number of people in each program, men and women, and then we have a CAD drawing, we'll actually go out and divide up the camp. So this is an example of what was done a couple of years ago. The golden color that you see on the bottom right side is for the post-program 4 men, and the golden color on the top side was the 4 women, and the red was the bathroom that was divided half for women, half for men. And the open areas in front of the women's tent was their open buffet, the open area in front of the men's tent was their open buffet. The blue big outline that you see is what the executive lounge was, and program 5's rooms were. The green was program 3. The yellow was program 1, so that's what we do. We actually divide up the camp. Did you know that the camp is completely gutted every year after Hajj is over? The sinks are removed, the toilets are removed, the water is shut down, everything is smashed. And we get possession of it approximately 2 weeks before, and we set it up. This is what the camp looks like. Google view is very deceiving. This is the real view. And you can see that we're on King Fahd Road, and if you follow the road to the very edge, you see 2 tunnels. That's King Fahd Road, and you enter the tunnel. As soon as you enter the tunnel, you have left the boundary of that. The reason I'm showing you that is because sometimes you have to walk that distance. Because if the roads are shut, you have to actually go through the tunnel to the other side where the buses are. And I'll share that detail with you. But you see these cylindrical buildings next to the ramp going to the Jamarat. These cylindrical buildings are nothing but access buildings. They have escalators and elevators to different levels of Jamarat. Okay? And the picture is taken from one of those buildings right next to our camp. So when you depart, we will be taking Al-Mashar train. Don't confuse this with the Al-Haramain railway system that's still building. Al-Haramain, the building is between Jeddah, Makkah, and Medina. Al-Mashar has been in existence for the last 6 years. It works until today's only. Takes you from Mina to Arafat on the night of Zulhijjah, Arafat to Muzdalifah in the evening, and the next morning back to Mina. We're done with the railway station. Right? There are 3 stations. And we are in station number 3 in Mina. We don't know which one is going to be for Arafat and Muzdalifah. It hasn't been assigned yet. But we know that our camp is going to be near Mina station number 3. We're given a specific time to ride the train. We don't have the option of taking the buses. The reason why they created the Al-Mashar train is to relieve the congestion on the roads so there are no buses. So if you're camped near train stations, you must take the train. With me? You have to walk to the train station. I showed you in the map where the train station was in relationship to the camp. And so here is an example of Jamarat. And, we have station 321, Muzdalifah 321, and Arafat 321. And we sort of come out of our camp within our respective group, with the group leader, with people with signs and Islam flags. We'll take one of these access buildings to the very top floor, and we'll walk all the way to the train station. What the map does not show you is there are some areas that you walk that are graded uphill. The ramp goes a bit slightly up, so it's a bit of a cardiovascular exercise. Now, what do you take with you, Rafa? I don't need my carry-on luggage. My roll-on bag, I don't need it. Why? Because I'm in Ihram. When I come back the next day, I will still be in Ihram. So what do I need? Well, I need my backpack. What's in it? Quran, prayer rug, medicine. And I always advise people to carry their own unscented soap with them. Not necessarily because we don't have unscented soap, because anytime you want to remain hygienic, you want to wash your hands, the hotels all have perfume stuff. So Dove unscented with a dollar store plastic box. I have my own, my wife as well, always in my backpack. So all the stuff that I mentioned to you about the electrolyte tablets, power bank, that steel container, all that goes in the backpack. Because that's what you will need. With me so far? So all you're doing is carry your backpack. You don't need your carry-on. And if you're planning to stay the whole night until Fajr, I advise people to carry a sleeping bag with them. I don't mean by sleeping bag for minus 50 degrees Celsius, a sleeping bag that is about 1 to 1.5 pounds steady. That's it. You're going to use it once. Right? The reason is because of what Muzdalifah is versus what Islam does. There are 2 different things. But just in case, we want to make sure that you are comfortable doing that. This is a picture of people gathering outside the camp. You can see the Islam workers wearing yellow t-shirt. You can see them carrying these neon orange, bright orange flags, signs, some of them carrying green flags. And you can see people wearing just their backpacks, some of them carrying the sleeping bag backpacks with them. With the Islam workers interspersed, so you can follow the sign. You're traveling as a group with your group leader, but almost the entire camp moves at the same time. We're going up the escalators, up to the roof, where we gather, and you have to walk at least this far if you still need assistance to get to the train station. The authorities over there do provide these golf carts, but you have to actually get up to the top floor to actually get to these golf carts to take you to the train station. Once you're in the train station, the platform has 2 doors. The door on the left side is the one to use to board the train, the tracks on that side. The door behind you, they try to use that door to control the number of people that can be accommodated in the platform. So there's no pushing and shoving. Going from Mina to Arafat is not an issue, but coming back from Arafat to Muzdalifah and Muzdalifah to Mina are issues because people tend not to listen. We are given a specific time to ride the train from Mina. Everybody leaves calmly. The same specific time is given in Arafat. This camp leaves after Maghrib, this camp stays for another 15 minutes, this camp will leave about half an hour after Maghrib. Nobody listens, everybody wants to leave after Maghrib. So you crowd the train station at Maghrib time in Arafat. So this is what the tents looked like last year in Arafat. Alhamdulillah, we were able to actually provide real AC unit, not desert coolers last year. And you can see on the top, on the left side of the picture, you'll see this little thing coming out of the tent, that duct work. These were industrial AC units that actually sat on concrete slabs the size of a small car on the outside. And was enough to actually keep the tent comfortable, let's put it this way. And there are fans to circulate it. The chairs are not a one-to-one ratio. Everybody has a chair. The chairs are just there for some to sit, some will sit on the floor. Right? It's not marked. This is another view of it. And this is when people came in the morning, sort of chilling, right? Until the Zohar time happens. Some people are on the floor. You can now see the two industrial units in the back very clearly. Actually, what we did is we turned them on last year and we zipped up the tent. And the first guys that came in the morning were complaining about being freezing. Even the temperature went up to 115 during the day. Right? So it sort of opens up. Once you open up the air, it flows through. This is program 4 last year, open buffet men and women in Arafat. So I'm showing you real pictures so you can sort of have a sense of understanding of what we're planning to do, inshallah. This is the bathrooms in Arafat. These are people sort of, relaxing, having a chai, and in the morning, because they arrive in the morning. You can see some of them are sitting on those coolers. Those coolers are important. They contain water, they contain juices, they contain drinks. And what you need to do is to remain hydrated in Arafat. What you need to do is take those small bottles of water, 4 or 5 of them, you stick them in the backpack from the return trip. Right? This is where it's required. There are people making dua. This is in Arafat. You'll have combined Zohar and Asr. In every one of those big tents, you'll have an imam assigned to lead the prayers and give the khutbah al Arafat. Then you'll have time for individual supplications. Late in the afternoon, you'll have time for group supplications. This picture shows you people making individual supplications inside the tent and some outside the tent. This is program 6 last year, executive program 6. They are making group supplications inside the tent late in the afternoon. We actually leave our camp towards the train station before the sun goes down. No train leaves before Maghrib. So don't worry about leaving Arafat before Maghrib. What would happen? What we're doing is we're lining up. Because if you don't line up, it'll be far worse. You can see by the time we actually get to the train station, it's already nighttime. We're still out there. So expect long lines in Arafat and Muzdalifah stations because people don't listen. How long are the line? You could be in a line for an hour and a half, inching yourself towards the platform. It's still better than bus platform because once you're in the train and it moves, the train travel time is 10 minutes to Muzdalifah. Used to be, years ago, when they didn't have the train system, I used to take the bus, and I used to call it the worst traffic jam in the world. We used to travel 7 kilometers in 7 hours. You leave after Maghrib and arrive in Muzdalifah at 2 a.m. And the bus driver would actually go 25, 30 yards. Not only would he brake, he would turn off the ignition because he knows it's not moving for the next few minutes. Right? This is still better. If, for some reason, I think, is it bad? Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
So the online folks can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if for some reason, this is where you have to be careful. What we're doing are departures from Mina to Arafat in your group, right? With your group leader. And we're going to gather you as a group to go to the train station. But this is where the chaos happens. I'm a group leader, and I walk in there, and I've got my people spread across multiple doors to enter the train in the platform. The train comes, some get on, some don't.
That's why we have people with Dar es Salaam signs and flags throughout the station. Now you have to follow a general Dar es Salaam person. Follow me? Just use common sense. They're all going to Muzdalifah, same place. When you arrive in Muzdalifah, for example, you will see, this is a scenario from last year. You can see when people are getting off the train, how crowded it is. Follow the Dar es Salaam flag. See if you have a companion with you who's also with Dar es Salaam. Even if you're a group of 4 or 5, stick together. Just follow the flag. We actually place Dar es Salaam workers, this is a Dar es Salaam worker actually, in strategic locations high enough with the flag so you can see, okay, this is the direction. And if you get near him, he will tell you which way to go to the next stop, right? So common sense should prevail. And you can see, same thing. And it's dark. Now, what is Muzdalifah? Generally speaking, the Saudi government have what they call mutawifs. Mutawif is a person they have appointed to provide facilities and services to the pilgrims of certain countries. So there's a mutawif for North America. There's mutawif from every country, if you will. And some of them have several mutawifs for a country because of the large population that comes from that country. The mutawif is allocated space in Mina and in Arafat to set up the tents and provide the services. But there is no such thing in Muzdalifah, by the way. None. None whatsoever. I think I've gone ahead a few slides. Just go through it slowly. I think. Sure. So all the slides were about getting out of Muzdalifah, right, and the fact that they have to expect long lineups. My apologies, folks. It was a pilot error here. So in Muzdalifah, it's a free-for-all. There is no dedicated area for pilgrims from any country. All area is for anybody. And all bathrooms are public bathrooms, so there is no semblance of a place to get meals and drinks. Whatever you're carrying is what you've got. This is where the energy bar comes in, right? If you will, and the water comes in. Though there are some people that would like to try to sell you, just like here, oh, you want water 6 days, even though it's something in real. There's no sense of organizational prayers. Sometimes you're there with 4 of you, you've found spots, and there's a jama'ah going on with another group, you just join them. It's one of the worst places to get lost. So it's a good idea to stick together. Given the fact that the government does that, we try to carve a space for ourselves. Is it guaranteed? Not really. But we try. And so what I'm showing you is what it was 3 years ago when there was no space. This is an example of Dar es Salaam's group in Muzdalifah among everybody else 3 years ago. Last year, we created, and the year before, we had a private area. We sent our workers at Asr times to lay some carpet in that area and sort of put up a barricade if we could. As such, we had somebody go and take one part of this public bathroom, men and women's side, and get it cleaned a little bit, and arrange for some meals and drinks. And so this is what it looked like. This is the group that came in. This is the program for last year coming in, and they are. You can see very clearly those sheets, the brown, the beige color sheets. That was the barrier. You can see in the background there's a bathroom. One part of it is within Dar es Salaam's area. The other part is public area, if you will. And you can see behind the people praying, those who arrived earlier, they have their own jama'ah, and they're sort of relaxing, right, in the area, as such. This is another group that came in, they're praying, as such. As far as space is concerned, and the reason I tell you to take a sleeping bag is because we are our own worst enemy. We do not use the space in an optimum manner. If you tell, brother, can you sleep here? And maybe your wife can sleep over there, and then you get the response typically, no, my wife will be with me. Because they're petrified. They're going to get separated. They're going to get lost. So if a man is sleeping and a woman is sleeping right next to her, then for the next 2 miles, there's nobody next to that woman, right? So that's you waste your space. So soon you run out of carpeted areas. So if a group comes by train, and you happen to be in the last group, you come here, you can't find a carpeted area, what do? You take your sleeping bag and put it on the ground. And that could be a hard ground with pebbles in it. So that's why we suggest you take a sleeping bag with you. And that carpet is not necessarily all comfortable, especially for the men, because all you have is a ihram, right? And you're probably all perspiring and sweaty, and that's all woolen, silky material. Right? So a sleeping bag with a cotton lining is a bit better. So we had meals in insulated containers, hot meals. We also had sandwiches. Last year we had hot drinks, we had cold drinks, we had every facilities available to make it comfortable. One thing we couldn't do is to decide how comfortable you'd be, because I remember this, and this puts your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wonderful ways of reminding. The year before 2016 and 2015, we had our own area, but it was a very tough night to spend because there was absolutely no breeze. None, zero, still, and hot. It was very difficult to spend. Last year was just as hot, but there was this slight breeze, and that made the difference. Just as hot, but there was a slight breeze. So you don't have a 5-star hotel, you have a million-star in the WTC. There are going to be 2 departures from Muzdalifah, and I'll have the shuyukhs here actually tell you, when to depart when. It's not a choice. You don't have a choice. You need to know whether you are among the exceptions to leave in the middle of the night. Wajib is to stay till the morning. Roughly speaking, 75% of the people stay till Fajr, 25% leave in the middle of the night. If a woman is excused, and she is, or an elderly, or sick, or weak, if a woman is excused and she's traveling with the mahram goes with her. That's such. And all that questions will be in the afternoon for you to ask. And this is what happens. I'm a group leader. I've got a group of 45 people, and some are staying, some are not. So this is where the semblance of group disappears. Right? There will be 2 departures. Anybody ready to go? We're leaving now. The ones in the middle of the night. So you will go with a bunch of Dar es Salaam group leaders and guides following Dar es Salaam signs. That's the middle of the night departure. The rest will be in the morning. So you may not be with your group leader, right? As long as you're together with Dar es Salaam group. When you arrive at the train station, this is what it looks like. The reason I'm showing you this picture is I want you to see the canopies. Right? You can see the canopies. Now, the first canopy on the right side is the small shaitan, and the middle one is the little shaitan. You can see that as you're getting off the platform, but the paths to get there is a bit complicated. We will give you a map which has a picture, a Google map, as well as directions and how to get from the train station back to the camp the next morning. And so, when you actually come from the train station, you'll take this ramp and you'll be forced to go through the Jamarat. If it happens to be the morning, and that day you're supposed to throw 7 stones, if it is not too crowded, go ahead and throw the 7 stones before you even get to it. But when you're done with the last Jamarat, you don't go straight, you don't go left. What do? You make a right turn. If you were to walk from the small shaitan to the big shaitan, anytime there, if you go on any level of the Jamarat to the right side of the railing there, you can see that Islam's camp below. And despite all of this, we'll give you a map and you'll have an emergency number should you get lost. And we can walk back. There's 2 other markers, Al-Baik, which is a famous fried chicken there. There's a shop there right in front of our camp, and also House of Donuts also have a place there. So this is what it looks like. You'll end up coming out of the cylindrical building that you see on the right side, and you'll walk straight. It's a bit of an uphill. It's a very narrow street, and then you come up the street. We do have barbers available to cut your hair, but be patient. A lot of people want to get it done. It's a lineup. It's up to you. There is a numbering system. They'll pay you. They'll call you. But the barbers are there. They always use clean blades, one-time use only. And the bathrooms become busier. And this is where we actually mess up the bathroom ourselves. Some people won't wait for the barber. They'll actually go out and shave their own head in the sink and not worry about the next guy because the sink is clogged. Or we have ihrams that you discard. We have bins outside the bathroom. Don't leave it inside the bathroom stall where it's soggy, wet, because somebody else is going to use it. So we are our own worst enemy when it comes to how clean the bathrooms are. Dar es Salaam has attendants in the bathroom, by the way. They constantly keep the bathroom clean and provide supplies. It's something that we do every year, as such. But be mindful of others, as such. The water is going to be warm. And then there's no hot water tap, by the way. It's all cold water tap. But you're going to be waiting for the cold water to come. And that's normal. As such, because it's PVC pipes, 115 degrees, what do you expect? Going for Tawaf al-Ifada is going to be a scheduled departure. Not every program leaves that night. By the way, This year, Hajj is, the day of Arafat is on a Thursday, and the day of Eid, the day you're coming back from Muzdalifah and actually coming out of Ihram, is a Friday, September the 1st. So the most questions I'll start getting, from people will be, can we go to the Haram for Jummah? And I will say no. And they will say, but brother, it's 100,000 times more. And I will say no. Then I'll say, it's the sunnah not to go. And they'll say, what do you mean it's the sunnah not to go? Again, quality matters. If you want to follow the sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ made one Hajj, right? The day of Arafah was which day of the week?
Thursday.
Friday. Did he pray Jummah? No. He prayed as a traveler, Dhuhr and Asr. You want any better example than that to follow? But brother, still there is 100,000. So those arguments go on. I'm just letting you know that. And then there are those who will say, okay, let's have an imam give the khutbah here. No. There is no khutbah when you're a traveler. Just Dhuhr and Asr. What has been granted to you is ease. Take it as ease. You don't know any better than the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So just follow. That's it. Tawaf al-Ifadah, if the roads are blocked and the buses are on the other side of the tunnel, we do have golf carts for those who need it, those who are challenged. Healthy ones will walk. How much walk? 1.25 miles. How much is that? 20 minutes? Till you get to your bus. But it will be scheduled departure. We'll say which group is leaving when. You will know when you're going for Tawaf al-Ifadah. Whether you're going the same night or the following morning or the following evening. Program 2, for example, has a hotel stay after Hajj. They're not going to be going the first night. Program 3 are departing immediately after Hajj. They will be going the first night. So there is a reason, there's a priority behind it. And Dar es Salaam also does something unique. We have something called Al-Shuhada Hotel. So when we say we'll take you to the Haram, where in the Haram are you going to drop me off? Where are you going to pick me up from? So we actually rent a dining hall in a hotel. So you're not out there in the stifling heat. You're indoors. The bus will take you there. It's about 450 meters from the Haram. The reason for 450 meters is because I can't get any closer. There are physical barricades that block the roads. Okay? You'll go to the Shuhada Hotel. You'll go to the Haram. My group, I'm the group leader. Let's go to Tawaf al-Ifadah. We arrive in Shuhada Hotel. We'll go out together. Some people need a wheelchair. I'll help negotiate that. We go into the Haram. We don't come out together. Everybody comes out at different speed. So some of them have come back to Shuhada Hotel, and then Dar es Salaam person who's resident there saying, there's a bus to go to Mina. Don't wait for your group. Get on the bus. Go to Mina. Follow me? Same destination you're going to. So this is where the group, semblance of group breaks up. But at least we have a place, 450 meters away. Going to the Jamarat is very simple. If you have to go throw the stones on the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, just be careful that if you're throwing stones on the 12th of Dhul-Hijjah, try to avoid throwing it at peak times. Both the incidents that happened, the one that happened 2 years ago and the one that happened in 1990, which had the record of the number of deaths, both happened on the day of Eid, early in the morning. So that's a dangerous time. And the next dangerous time is on the 12th of Dhul-Hijjah at Dhuhr time. Everybody wants to throw the stones at Eid. Many programs that we have are staying till the 13th, which is easy, which is good for them. It's the sunnah anyway, and it's good for them. So the paths to take is to follow the same simple path, go up the access building, throw the stones calmly and quietly. It's also psychology involved, by the way. So as I walk through and I can see the Jamarat approaching, Jamara is approaching, it's a wall. The tendency is people will see the wall and start throwing the stones. If you just go around them, the wall is pretty long, 40 feet long. If you go around them, chances are you'll be standing right next to it and throwing stones. You just have to know how to go around them. If you see it's too busy, just because you happen to be there, use common sense. If it is that busy and that dangerous, you can't handle it, just walk away. Come back. It's only 10 minutes away from it. You can try it with time. Those who are unable to do so, you're permitted to have somebody else throw it on your behalf. You can cover that with the shields in the afternoon. So same path to take, to come back. At the end of Hajj, we will depart. Again, some will depart on the 12th of Dhul-Hijjah. Some will depart on the 13th of Dhul-Hijjah. And then you will perform your Tawaf al-Ifadah based on when your flight is departing. But if you gave us those valuables that I mentioned, right? you pick up those valuables in Makkah. So if you are program 3, 4, and 5, and you give us some valuables, when you go to Shuhada Hotel, you do your farewell tawaf, and you get on the bus. Before you get on the bus to move on to Jeddah, you picked up the valuables from Shuhada Hotel. Those who are in the apartment hotel, when you finish your Hajj, you go back to the apartment hotel, you claim your valuables back. It's delivered in Makkah. It's not delivered in Medina or in Jeddah. Basically, that's how we need to remember that. Two other questions I get asked is that complimentary Zamzam is provided by Dar Islam, and it comes that way. It comes in a plastic bottle, which is itself sealed in a plastic bag, which is itself in a carton. It is ready to be checked in. Now, when I say ready to be checked in, what people do sometimes, it's available at the airport. It used to be available in Makkah before, but they became smart. There's no sense in giving you Zamzam in Makkah only for you to ship it to Jeddah. So they have it made available in kiosks in the airport. Dar Islam actually acquires it for you, and so you pick up your Zamzam and put it in your luggage cart as you walk into the check-in counter. Don't check in and say, "What is my Zamzam?" Because the Zamzam has to be checked in. It has to be part of your check bag. The airlines will accept the checking in to the destination, the first destination, free of charge. So if I'm coming back to JFK and then I'm taking a second flight to Columbus, Ohio, it's free of charge to JFK, but not necessarily to Columbus, Ohio, with a domestic flight. Just know that. It's okay to bring right dates as long as they're packed and you declare with U.S. Customs. They've never stopped anyone to do that. People ask those questions. Okay? So that's the end of the itinerary in steps. Last piece I want to do is the items checklist. What I've done is I've actually provided this checklist as a memory jogger. It's more of a guideline. You have to judge it for yourself. And then I've decided to categorize. If I put them in different categories, as you're packing, you can think of those things. So when I'm looking at travel documents, I must make sure that I have a passport with me. I must make sure that I've got a green card. Anybody with a green card here? So here's what you do with the green card. There is no authority in Saudi Arabia that wants your green card, needs your green card, or should ask for your green card. Okay? The green card is only used to return back to the United States. You must take it with you, but don't surrender it with your passport. Keep it separate from the passport. The only time the green card will be used is when you are in the check-in counter at the airport coming home. They will want to see if you have a green card so you can enter the United States. Be mindful of this. You have to take it with you. Keep it safe throughout. Nobody will want it. Nobody should ask for it. There's nothing to do with Hajj. And only when you're returning, when you're trying to get your boarding card, they'll ask for the green card. Okay. Make sure you have your e-ticket with you. And as I mentioned, proof of vaccination is sometimes demanded when you arrive. That's part of the documents. When it comes to cash, people ask, how much should I take? I say $500 per person is more than enough, provided you don't have this long list of things to buy as gifts. It's just incidental. If it is for buying gifts, then obviously it'll be more. But generally speaking, when you take cash, you take large denominations and newer looking bills. Right? Because the sarraf is a guy behind the counter, looks at your money and says, no, I can't take this. 20s and 10s, you don't get a favorable exchange rate. They might even accept it. Take more bills, large denominations. And by the way, if you are one of those that are planning to use the wheelchair services for Tawaf and Sa'i, then add more cash to it, because you'll have to pay that guy as well. When it comes to ihram, even though we provide you ihram as complimentary, these are the things to think of. A pair of slipper or an appropriate sandal. There's no restriction for women, but the men have restrictions to what they can wear as footwear, that you can cover in the afternoon. As far as the belt to tie ihram it really is a memory job, and just as a guideline. Some people don't use a belt to tie the ihram. They tie the ihram in such a way they don't need that. Or you can use the same belt that you're using today to tie your pants. Or you can use a soft money belt. If you're going to use a money belt, don't use a money belt that is visible. You put the money belt in, ihram is up too high, and you cover it up with the ihram cloth. Okay? The reason I don't think we need a money belt is because when you transfer from Medina to Makkah, as an example, first thing you do is you go to your hotel before you go to the haram. And remember, valuables are to be kept in the hotel safe, not carried with you. Women, men together. There are professional pickpockets, unfortunately, in the haram. With blades sometimes. If this sense you're walking in plain clothes, putting an option tawaf, and you have a puffy looking pocket, they will try to see if they can get at it. So there is no point in taking valuables into the haram. Okay? If you're going to Makkah first, program 3, anybody here? Great. So where should the ihram be? In the suitcase or in your hand carry? Because you're going to be getting into the state of ihram prior to landing. You will be entering into the state of ihram prior to landing. If you're going on Saudi Airlines, you change inside the plane in the prayer area they have in the aircraft. If you're going on any other airline, you will change the clothing of the ihram at the transit airport. Abu Dhabi for Etihad, Dubai for Emirates, Istanbul for Turkish Airlines. When I say change, means getting into the garment of ihram. Doesn't mean you make the intention. You make the intention when there is an announcement of the aircraft, the miqat is approaching. You don't have to be scientific. If the person says the miqat will be approaching in the next 20 minutes, you don't have to wait for 20 minutes. You can make the intention. Okay? You must not cross the miqat without being in the state of ihram. The state of ihram requires an intention. Wearing the garment of ihram does not put you in the state of ihram. You have to intend to be in ihram. The reason I mentioned this now, so physical preparation for ihram, cutting the hair and all that happens here. For the women, you can, if you're in a transit airport, perhaps go and change in the bathroom. But generally speaking, women tend to enter into the state of ihram from the clothing they're wearing from home. Personal needs, when you're packing from Mina and Arafat, these are the kinds of things that you want to consider. I've written bath and hand towels. Generally speaking, I don't take a hand towel, I take a bath towel. Because it's so hot that you dry by the time you get back home, washing your face anyway. So you don't need it. So these are all just memory joggers, and there is a link on the forum directly from Medina and from Makkah, 2 separate links that you can click on to know what the weather is like before you're packing. But I can tell you, it will say it's hot. I mentioned sleeping bag. I mentioned pillow because some people want it, but I don't personally use a pillow. If I'm going to sleep in Muzdalifah or lay down, for example, what I would do is I would actually roll up my prayer mat and stick it under my head. That's it. I don't need to sleep in. Why do I carry other material with me? Some people take the traveler's pillow, it's up to you. You don't carry the stuff from your camp in Mina, your own pillow that was given to you for use in Mina, over to you for use it as Arafat. You don't do that. The carry-on bag that I mentioned already, the roll-on which you take from here, and the backpack that Islam provides. If you're going to wear glasses, sunglasses, or especially those who cannot stay without the prescription glasses, buy one of those strings that goes in the back of the glass, the frame, in case you get bumped and the glass falls, at least it doesn't fall down to the ground and break. Prayer mat, small Quran. Now this is a list of medical kit. I mean, don't go out and buy one of these. As I said, it's just a memory jogger, right? I can tell you most of it is available in Saudi Arabia. It may not be the same brand, but it's available. Gravol is not available in the United States, it's available in Canada, but it's meant for something for air sickness. If you're prone to it, your favorite aspirin, Tylenol, Advil, in case you've got headaches. Vaseline is generally put in there because men sometimes ask for it. The reason being is that when they're in ihram, their inner thighs rub together and it causes much pain, if you will. You can apply Vaseline to it if you want. A diarrhea medication, Imodium works. You can buy it over there or take it from here. I mentioned antibiotics, even though you can buy it over in the pharmacy over there. Don't need prescription. Just go up there and ask for it. You can say, I want Zithromax, the 3-day or 5-day one. I want amoxicillin, or I want, they'll give it to you. But there are those who are sensitive to certain types of antibiotics who ask your physician to prescribe the one that you like, broad base, and get it filled. Will you use it? I don't know. 8 out of 10 people do end up going through some sort of, Hajj gift, if you will, over there. So most physicians will tell you it's viral, it's not bacterial. My experience is that I don't wait. If I've got sore throat and I've got a runny nose, It may be viral, but manasik is 3 days away, 4 days away. Do I want to wait to find out this viral turn bacterial? Just start the MDR. That's what I end up doing. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just giving you what I do. Face mask available there as well, and I mentioned the rehydration. If you are one of those that take regular medicines for blood pressure or for high cholesterol and so forth, make sure you take sufficient quantity that lasts for the entire trip. Okay? Take one of those 7-day boxes. What I do is I take one of those Sunday to Saturday boxes, but I put in each one of them 2 or 3 days worth. It's good enough for me at one. And then I'll take one small one that I carry with me. So every day I'll take out my daily ones and it'll stay in my pocket, as an example, right? Or it'll stay in my backpack. But take sufficient quantity that you can, that you need. Seek advice from a physician for medical conditions. Anybody's taking insulin and you want to keep it in a cool place, speak to your group leader, will help you keep it cool in a minute. And also give you tips. Maybe you want to take a small ice pack with you that you can, keep it cool over there. If you're allergic to specific drugs, for example, or you have some medical conditions, make sure your group leader knows about it. We've had one or two incidents where somebody sort of collapsed and we had no idea. And we couldn't speak for him because we didn't know what it was. So if you have either written down or let somebody know, so they can tell the person. In terms of do's and don'ts, people ask me how much luggage do I take? Well, you're allowed 2 suitcases, 50 pounds each. But I also should tell you that your luggage is your punishment, so go ahead. 1 suitcase per person should be sufficient. And if you want to do shopping over there and bring 3 back, no problem. But travel light. Make copies of your passport and green card. And the reason you make copies of it is because you want to keep 1 copy at home, keep 1 copy with you in your suitcase away from the original. Because the passport is kept by them, even though we haven't lost any passport, but just in case. It's a good idea to have. That Islam issued ID card, always have it with you. Don't carry any audio video cassettes. Unnecessarily be stopped at customs and want to know what's in it. There's no need for that. When you're going in the monastic outside the designated area of the Islam, don't go by yourself. First of all, you don't need to go in the first place. You don't need to go to Jabal Rahman. You don't need to go to Masjid al-Haram. All of the place of Arafat is a place of standing. People don't necessarily take the burden. They come back exhausted, and I see people actually sleeping in the afternoon, and they should be actually making wuquf because they decided in the morning to go somewhere outside. Do not carry cash or valuables at all. Put it in the safety deposit. If you're sharing a room, there's a safety deposit in there. Understand what the code is, let everybody know, and just share the safety deposit box. If I go in there and I cash $1,000 into reals, I will not carry that with me. I will carry 500 reals and 300 reals. The rest of the reals will also be in the safe. There's no point in carrying it. Make sure you're on time. Don't second guess when we're saying, be there at a certain time. Yes, there might be delay, but don't second guess that. Don't inconvenience others. And make sure you follow the instructions about tagging your bags when we're moving the bag from location A to location B, and make sure to put outside the room at the stated time. There are only 2 types of water you can drink. Zamzam and bottle. There's no third type. There's no tap water. Maintain your fluid balance. You will know when you're getting dehydrated because either your urine will be dark or dark. Then those are the telltale signs. Make sure you start taking fluids. Avoid heavy food. Enough said, I'll re-emphasize it, pace yourself, take plenty of rest. Your mind needs to be alert. You just don't want to go through the motion and you're dead tired. You're not operating example. You have to be alert. You have to be conscious. If there is any demonstrations, a big gathering, just stay away from it. Don't take any handouts and such. Please cooperate with your fellow pilgrims. Remember, وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمُ اللَّهُ. You're all there for the same purpose. Remember the code of conduct that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said you must behave by when you're there. You want to see unity in worship? Here's what I want you to go out and observe. Go to the courtyard of the Haram for Asr prayers. Because there's about 1 million people in the Haram, and when the extension is finished, you go to 2 million. You will always have a level of noise because of the people. But when the Salah begins, when the Iqamah is called, everybody lines up. You don't really look for your friend next to you, whoever it is. The person could be from a different part of the world. When the Imam begins the Salah, within a few seconds, if you close your eyes, it is very easy for you to imagine you're by yourself. That's how silent it becomes. Are we united in worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes. We bow together, we make sujood together, and regardless of the fact that we don't even know each other, we can't even speak to each other. Right? There is a reason why everybody else is there at the same time. You are there to help them as much as they are there to help you. This is part of brotherhood and sisterhood. This notion that it is my Hajj, no, it is our Hajj. Maybe it is because of something that somebody else does that is so pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He accepts everybody's Hajj. This has happened. So be mindful of that. I will leave you with a few hadith. And the opportunity to do good as much as you can over there far exceeds anywhere else in the world. Not here in Texas. Not even in a masjid. Right? Whoever removes the worldly grief from a believer, Allah will remove from him one of the griefs of the Day of Judgment. And why would I like Him to remove my grief from that day? Whoever shields the misdeeds of the Muslim, Allah will shield him both in this dunya and in the hereafter. The Prophet ﷺ said, verily every good deed is charity, and it is a good deed if you meet your brother with a cheerful note, and it is a good deed if you extend a helping hand to him. So when the prayers are finished, the guy next to you from Nigeria, though you can't speak to him, can you please shake his hand? On both sides? Can you please smile? This is part of what we're there for. He's there for the same purpose. The most beloved of people to Allah are those who benefit the people the most. And the Prophet ﷺ said, and to help a believing brother with his needs is more beloved to me, said Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, than to make i'tikaf in my masjid for an entire month. Where else would you find this opportunity? So you have to think of being a little bit more, not selfish, but selfless. I'm not saying you should do this, but this is what I do. Once I do my Umrah, if I want to do an optional tawaf, if the mataf is really empty, I will go, otherwise I will do it somewhere else. Because I find people in Ihram doing the initial tawaf al-qudum struggling because they're in minority, and people in plain clothes who have been staying in Makkah are doing over and over again. That's me. You don't have to do that. Because I want them to be able to have that spiritual moment during their Umrah and the tawaf rather than being pushed and shoved. That's a minor thing, but to me it means a lot. That's that. Help your Muslim brothers and sisters. Opportunity is abundant. Be patient, because things, logistics-wise and so forth, are all dependent on that massive movement of people. As such, sometimes you have to be extremely patient. Some cases, and some people will have to exercise the utmost patience. I think I've said enough. There's a theme in here somewhere. Right? Know the prerequisite for patience is taqwa. And this is the end of my pitch. I would be more than happy to take any questions. I'm told that the questions will be sent to me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. During Ihram, men will be wearing 2 pieces of Ihram. My question is, what will the women be wearing? Again, I would encourage you to go to the forum. Women can wear whatever they want. There's no particular piece of cloth they need to wear. They can wear, as long as they are covered Islamically as they're supposed to be covered, they can wear whatever they want to wear. Plain clothes, that's good. I want to check with you if the sandals below are okay with the Ihram for men. I will leave that question to the shuyukh who will have the fiqh and the manasik later on about the type of shoes. Again, the religious question with respect to the women's issues, for example, and requiring wudu and so forth, I will leave that question to the shuyukhs to answer that. I'm here really to answer the administrative and logistics questions. But I would again encourage you that some of these questions, as I read them, are already in the forum and answered by Dr. Muhammad Salah. Again, example of shoes to be worn during Umrah and Hajj for both men and women. Let the shoes define that. Women, there are no restrictions, by the way. But the men, as to whether the heel or the cuneiform bone or both needs to be exposed, I leave that to them to define. For preparation of Umrah and Hajj, does one have to shave parts the day when the ihram is put on or a few days before? Again, the sheikhs would answer properly. The sunnah is to do it just as you're making the ghusl for ihram, just the day of. Is it okay for men and women to wear a cap with an umbrella or an umbrella type cap? Again, if we're speaking of being in the state of ihram, men cannot wear anything on their head. You can hold an umbrella, but you cannot wear anything on their head. Women have no restrictions. They wear straw hats, whatever they need to wear to shade. You can actually ask this question of the shields as well. How many minutes roughly one has to walk to the train, Arafat and other places, water and Manasik, just to give an idea? I would say if you leave your camp in Mina, the path that I showed you, to walk up the escalator and then up to the roof and then walk to the train station, I would say it would be a good 25 minutes walk. Right. It's also, remember, some of it is upgrade, if you will. So it's a grade going higher, so a graded walk. In Arafat, the issue in Arafat is not as much as walking from the train station or Muzdalifah to where Dar es Salaam is. The issue is when I'm departing from Arafat or Muzdalifah from the train station, I'm standing there for a long time. I have nowhere to sit. I just move a little bit and inching my way to the platform. There's a lot of standing. So there are people who have difficulty standing for a long time, or who otherwise use a stool for prayers. Take the stool with you. Just open it up, sit there, relax, and move on. There are lightweight stools that are available over there as well. Okay. Nothing else? You didn't send anything? Okay, well, Jazakumullah, thank you so much. Do you have any questions here? Yes, sir. The shuyukhs can answer you in more definitive terms, but the most restrictive one says you must do it during the days of Hajj, which would mean up until the 13th, that's it. There are other views that says as long as you're there. But again, these are just different madhahib, if you will. So we tend to actually finish all of that before you depart, before you leave Mina. We try to schedule it so that you're going either the 10th, or the night of the 10th, or the morning of the 11th, or the evening of the 11th, pretty well. Where the issues come in is there are people who are not in any physical condition that they can actually go to the Tawaf. They're not well, they're sick, or they have a lot of walking to do. In which case the shuyukhs will tell you that it's okay, at the very end they can combine it with the Tawaf or whatever. That's something that you can ask the same question in the afternoon session. It'll be much better. Yes, sir.
When we are checking out of the hotels in Mecca and going to Mina, we are supposed to take all our bags, all the baggage with us.
No, we will pick up your luggage. You're in which program are you?
3A.
So if you're in 3, we will pick up your luggage on the 7th of Zulhijjah, the checked luggage. You would have already packed for Mina, your roll-on bag and that backpack, your meds, your valuables are with you, and that checked luggage will be delivered to you in Medina. So you have to take an extra pair of clothes. Instead of maybe 3 sets of changing clothes, then you'll take a 4th set. Right? Yes, sir. The valuables will be collected by us for the Manasik and returned to you right after Manasik, not in Medina. So as you finish your farewell tawaf, before you're heading to Jeddah, you'll pick up the valuables for Shawwal, inshallah. Yes, sir.
When you have to go from Muzdalifah to Mina, the distance is not too long. So can we just walk and reach the whole train, waiting for the train?
I would not encourage you to walk. The question is when you go from Muzdalifah to Mina, the distance is not too long. Can you walk it? I mean, you really need to know where you're going. Number one. That's the first thing. And number 2 is it's fairly crowded still. Walking is fairly crowded. Number 3, we don't encourage it as such is because it's not an individual decision. You're going to have someone engage and go as a group. And where the fear comes in is that 2 years ago, the incident that happened, it didn't happen at the Jamrat itself. It happened in one of those access roads coming into the Jamrat. And we did have a group that decided to walk to Muzdalifah Fortunately for them, they were in the street parallel to him, not on that street. Follow me?
Yeah.
Because that incident, and I was in one of those incidents back in 1990, which is when it happened in the tunnel. It is not really a stampede. People call it a stampede. Stampede would be when you have a large amount of people going through a narrow opening. This is called a crushing. Okay. What it is, and this was researched by a person in the UK, is that you have such a density of crowd going in both directions that it can barely pass each other. And the flow continues. So the people are coming in, packing in from both sides, not realizing what's happening. And then the motion dynamics takes over. One push extra, and the wave goes this way. Another push extra, the wave goes this way. That's what went on at 7 o'clock in the morning. Right? So they were not just simply a stampede. They did open up one opening. I have a video of that. It's pretty horrific to watch. And then people came out. So the idea here is to avoid areas and streets that you don't know. We're there to guide you and help you to stick with the group. Yes, you have to be a little bit more at the train station, maybe a little bit more pushing and shoving, but better do that than to walk and be lost.
Yes, I have two-part questions. So the group leaders you mentioned for 45 to 50 people, so the leader will be assigned from within the group, or is it by some?
No, so that is not assigned person dedicated. So group leader, a group leader is assigned by Dar es Salaam dedicated to help and serve you. It is not a person from within the group, no.
Okay, but very good. So the other part is will there be any time during the Hajj journey that there will be no Dar es Salaam representative with us, or there will be with us all along and for the entire process?
That's a pretty broad question as to whether or not there will be a time during the entire journey that will be without the Dar es Salaam representative.
Right.
You may be flying from here without the Dar es Salaam representative in the plane, in the airport, but you'll definitely find them when you land over there. That's one example. But while you're in Saudi Arabia, you'll always have access to a Dar es Salaam person. Right? Your group leader will stay with you, but there will be others as well. You always have an emergency number in the back of your ID card to call, inshallah. Any other question? Yes, sir.
What you have said lecture today, do you have anything in writing so they can get it and maybe more informed at home?
The lecture, inshallah, is being recorded.
Now, in writing, do you have anything in writing?
The slides will be available, but I have nothing else in writing. I'm not so sure how to transcribe this thing.
Okay.
Perhaps that's why we have the recording. You can sort of watch it or watch parts of it. The New Jersey recording is far more extensive on the logistics. We also had a 40-minute session on medical advice by Dr. Masood Alam, and that's with his slides as well. So you can watch that. It's a separate segment, medical advice by itself, so you don't have to go through the whole presentation. Find out in the 3.5 hours where he is. So I would suggest that's the best way. We don't have anything in writing as transcribed. No. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the e-book earlier. Will that be available to us before?
Yes, it's being, the e-book has been worked on, right? The e-book has been worked on, and it's going to be made available to you, yes, inshallah. It'll be sent to you here. Yes, sir.
The vaccination is good for how long?
The vaccination of meningitis is generally good for 3 years. That's the question, is how many good for 3 years? It must be taken at least 10 days prior to travel, or up to 3 years travel. 3 years it will be from the date of return, if you will. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
About the phones, our normal phones that we use, do we leave it behind or do we take that along with the special one for the change of SIM?
The question is whether you take your normal phone with you or do you leave it behind and take the other one. Whatever phone you want to use, you take it with you. Some people will take their own phone, as long as it's unlocked, just remove the chip. Others will say, no, this is important to me and I'll keep it the way it is, I'll buy another phone. It's really a personal choice. Most people carry a single phone. They don't carry two phones. So.
What is your recommendation for foreign exchange?
What is my recommendation for changing money? Don't change your money here. You will not get a favorable exchange rate. When you arrive in Medina or in Mecca, the sarraf, the money exchanger, they are very close to the hotels. The group leader will guide you how to get to the sarraf. If you have any emergency and you need the 50 riyals, 100 riyals, 500 riyals, Your group leaders, your program managers will be more than happy to loan you so that you don't have an emergency. So you don't need to worry about that. We have people who've lost their money and we've given them the money so they can be at ease during Hajj, and we'll discuss all of that later when you come back home again. So don't worry about that. But the sarraf is over there and money should be exchanged over there, not here. You don't get a good rate here. Yes, sir.
So for group 4, we're going to move from Mecca to Jeddah. Are we going to meet at the Shuhada?
You leave Mina, group 4, as you end Hajj, you leave Mina and come to Shuhada. Leave your Mina belonging in Shuhada hotel. Go make your tawaf al-wada, come back, collect your valuables, get on the bus, go to your hotel in Jeddah, and the luggage that was picked up from Mecca on the 7th of Zulhijjah will be in Jeddah. Let me check it. Okay? Will you provide access to these do's and don'ts? Yes, it's already there. The access to this entire set of slides, actually this is the shorter version, the one that I did in New Jersey, the entire 160 slides are there, along with the entire recording of the logistics seminar is there. Do's and don'ts, items checklist, all on the forum. Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate something about the stone collection?
The collecting the stones from Muzdalifah is your question?
Yeah.
What people do is they tend to take those small water bottles and they put their stones in there, an empty one. They collect it in Muzdalifah. Once you arrive in Muzdalifah, the first thing you need to do is make wudu and pray Maghrib and Isha. That's the first thing. First thing is not collecting stones. First thing is praying Maghrib and Isha. Combine 3 rak'ah Maghrib followed by 2 rak'ah Isha, and then you can collect the stone in that bottle. Or some people will take a Ziploc bag with them and collect the stones in there.
So from the ground or somewhere?
Anywhere in the ground in Muzdalifah. You can actually collect it even from Mina. It's okay to collect from Mina as well. I didn't hear that question. No, there's no fourth Ramesh Jamara. That canopy, the fourth canopy, that's just a guard station there. But there's only 3. Yeah, so one of them is not a Jamara. When you go there, you will see the walls. There's only 3 of them. Yeah.
And after the Hajj, when you come back from the Hajj,
when you come back from Muzdalifah on the day of Eid, you only threw in the last one, Jamrat al-Kubra, only last one.
So it's not the first, not the second.
Not the first, not the second. And there are signs that says which Jamra it is. The sign says in English, the sign says in Arabic, so you can tell which one it is. You're not going to mistake it for the wrong one, if you will. Okay.
Question?
Hold on a second. Should we take extra sandals during the manasik? Will sleeping bag be provided by the Islam? No, we will not be providing the sleeping bag. Taking extra sandals, you can buy sandals over there. Very easy to buy sandals. How many pairs of slippers? Again, it's up to you. How many pairs you want to take with you? People just take one. If you're really worried about it, it's going to break, buy another one. Slippers are available. Flip-flops are available over there. Should we carry a chair with us? And I'm going to assume that means a stool. You can buy them over there. It's lightweight, very easy to carry. You don't need to carry it from here. In program 3A, when we arrive, will Umrah be immediately or can we rest? There is no restriction saying you should not rest. You can rest, but that's something collectively decided by you and your group. And as far as the requirement is concerned, there's nothing stopping you from resting before you do your Umrah. But as to when you do it, it will be done by the group when you arrive.
I get questions. During the walk, we can use socks, any kind of socks?
Please hold that question for the afternoon session, right? For the Imam to answer whether you can wear socks during Tawaf or not. You can wear shoes during Tawaf for the women, slippers. It's okay. The Prophet ﷺ actually performed Tawaf riding a camel. Do I need to take with me a pillow and sheet in Mina? No. We will provide you with a place with the pillow, with the blanket. All of that will be provided for each person. You don't need to take anything from here. As far as SIM is concerned, all questions regarding SIM, as I mentioned, please wait till the beginning of August until we tell you what the solution is before you decide whether you want to take your own global plan or otherwise, inshallah. Thank you, Jazakallah khair, for turning the fan on. I can feel the heat.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Question about program 2E. Can you talk a little bit about the logistics of going from Medina and program timing speeds?
Program 2B. By the way, anybody in Program 2, in the end, I'll be the operation manager of Program 2, all of it. Program 2 will actually depart from Medina on the 28th of August, 6th of Zulhijjah.
What time?
Still decided. I think it will be 11 o'clock. Last year was 2 o'clock. It will take about 8 hours or so to get there. Right? There'll be stops on the way. You'll actually have your luggage picked up the night before. You will have your hand carry. You will be in the garment or the clothing of Ihram. You will get on the bus on the 28th. The bus will stop in Abiyar Ali, which is just outside Medina. We'll go to the masjid, make the intention for Umrah, get back on the bus. The bus will stop at a checkpoint, then we'll stop at a rest stop, then we'll stop at another checkpoint, eventually get to the apartment hotel. It would be anywhere from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. depending on when we depart and how much traffic is on the road. Once you get in the apartment hotel, you will check in, you will have something to eat, then your group leader will tell you, let's go to the haram. You'll get back on the bus, and you'll go to Shuhada Hotel, and then you'll go to the haram and make your umrah, come back to Shuhada Hotel, and back to the apartment.
So that may be something like 2 a.m.
I would say that if I don't start my umrah by 2 a.m., then I wait till after Fajr. Last year we started about 12:30, about 1 o'clock in the morning. It was all night. We didn't come back in the morning. And I can have that side discussion with you later on. Yes, sir. That's correct. No, we will actually affix a label on the tags. You will have your own personalized luggage tag. No, that place, the sample that you saw with the luggage tag and the name and the blanks, we will actually print it and put a label on it. Inshallah. Yes.
Those of us who are 3A flying into Makkah, the Umrah is something we do on our own or with our group?
Program 2A, 3A. No, the idea here is that when you arrive in Mecca on Program 3A, you'll be in Ihram, you will first check in, and the decision will be made at that time as to when to come downstairs in the lobby to go together. But as I mentioned, for those who are going for the first time, even if you go as a group, the group breaks up. So you at least know how to perform Umrah here, in case you get lost, right? In case you get separated.
So that will be the first time once we get to Makkah.
You will first go and check in, and then you'll decide when to go. If you're too exhausted, then you wouldn't go for Umrah right away, you'll get some rest. If it's smack in the middle of the day, if it's 12 o'clock at noon, and I just arrived in Mecca, I would say, I will go at night time. So I will take my rest, I'll have my dinner, and I'll go at 11 p.m. if I arrive in the daytime. Right? My flight landed in Jeddah at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Mecca at 12. It's 115 degrees. I know I'm in Ihram. There's nothing wrong with me to go out and get some rest. As long as I don't use scented soap, that's why I always carry that soap with me. And I'm just going to go and do my own. Yes, sir. No, the backpack that you carry with you to Mina will have your Quran in it. From JFK? No. We are going to give you a backpack insulated. Yes, yeah. Yes. Yes. You can ask the whether you can put the Quran in the same place or not. Mixed opinion on that. There are mixed opinions on that. As to where you keep it. I'm going to end this thing because I know the questions want to end, but I will take a bio break and after that I'll be available to you guys, inshallah, even after the thought. Even if we have lunch here, I think. So I'll be available for any questions you may have. But thank you so much for attending, even those who are online, and thank you for your patience. I would again urge you to go and join the forum. Many of the questions that I read have already been asked. And if not, please ask them. I'll take my time in responding to them.